Now it's time to talk about the reasons not to become a programmer. And I know it sounds strange to talk about these things in a course aimed to help you become a developer. But the truth is that a career in software development isn't a good fit for everyone. You should definitely know the ugly side of this job before deciding to pursue it. Reason number one, programming can be frustrating. There are lots of potential causes for this frustration. For example, when fixing bugs, you'll have periods where you can't figure out why something is not working correctly, and you'll spend hours and days trying out solutions only to see them fail. Something that should have taken 2 hours becomes a task that takes 4 full-blown days. I can tell you from experience that it's not fun at all. Other times, you'll have to deal with demanding customers or difficult managers. Non-technical people have the terrible habit of putting pressure on you or making demands without having a clear picture of your software system. You will need to handle these interactions with grace, but it won't be easy, and at times you will feel like you are talking to aliens. I also hear developers complaining about the large number of meetings they have every week. Some companies love to arrange lots of meetings, and you might find yourself spending half of your time or more in conversations rather than doing what you love, which is writing code to solve real problems. Usually, the more experienced you are, the more meetings you need to participate in. And last but not least, you might encounter scenarios where you can't do your job because you depend on someone else, or you need some infrastructure that the company does not have or did not make available to you. This takes you out of your focus zone and forces you to lose time waiting for others or having endless conversations to figure out how to integrate your solution with your company's infrastructure. The problem with frustration is that it drains your motivation. You might argue that all jobs come with a certain degree of frustration, and you would be right. However, I feel that programming is on the podium when it comes to this. If you can handle frustration and stress and keep them out of your life, then maybe a career in software development is not the best option for you. Reason number two, because you will spend most of your time in front of a computer. Now, it doesn't matter if you work from home or your office, a typical workday looks something like this. You sitting on a chair in front of the computer for hours and hours. Now, over an extended period, this will lead to back pain, neck pain, or eye problems, especially if you don't take good care of yourself from day one. And hey, I know what I'm talking about. I experience back pain quite frequently these days. I can manage it by exercising and getting out of the chair every 45 minutes, but I did not know these things when I started this job. Few colleagues don't complain about one sort of pain after being in this industry for more than 10 years. Sitting in a chair all day is not suitable for you. Humans were not meant to do this. When starting a career in programming, take this into consideration and learn how to minimize your risk of health problems. Reason number three, programmers are not the most social creatures. I know lots of people who love to interact with others in their day-to-day job. They might be sales agents, marketing gurus, HR personnel, or lawyers. They love talking to others and working closely with other people. They draw energy from that. They can't imagine their job without these social interactions. If you're one of them, or if spending a lot of time talking to others gives you satisfaction, then programming is not a very good fit. Programmers are usually introverted and don't spend a lot of time talking. We like to create things. We like to let our imagination fly and build excellent applications. Talking? We don't do that so much. Why do you think everybody wants to work from home? In fact, even in online meetings, some of us don't even turn on the camera. I don't mind any of these because I am somewhat introverted myself and I enjoy working solo for extended periods. It does not bother me. But if you are extroverted and thrive on human interaction, You might discover that working as a coder will not cover this need. Think about this and try to find out if you could work in such an environment. If not, then again, maybe programming is not your dream job. Reason number 4. Sometimes there is pressure to get things done as quickly as possible. Deadlines are pretty present in software development. You will have deadlines to finish a task or deadlines to try and find out a solution to a bug. Up to a certain point, deadlines are healthy. They will help you stay on track. However, there are situations when things escalate. There are times when management will pressure you to finish something without considering the technical implications of their demand. They will tell you that a significant feature demanded by many essential customers needs to be ready in 2 months. Looking at things from a technical perspective, your team will realize that 2 months is not enough. And that is when the pressure starts to build up. Some teams will stand up for themselves and inform management that their demand is not feasible. Others, unfortunately, will take shortcuts to get the job done. And that is when problems start to creep in. Taking shortcuts to finish tasks is a Pandora's box. First of all, you and your team will do a crappy job and you will release poor quality implementations to your customers. They will get angry and demand fixes in the shortest amount of time possible. And then this vicious circle will go on building up constant time pressure for you and your team. Working under constant time pressure is not healthy for you as an individual. You'll feel fatigued and you'll feel a lack of motivation and a lot of stress. It's not something that you want long term. You can't control this aspect, but when you ask the right questions during an interview and assess how that team is handling time pressure, you will know if they have a healthy approach or not. Now, I don't want you to get the idea that time pressure does not exist. It does, and it's frequent in programming. And to a certain degree, it's normal. There is no way around this. But I do want you to avoid landing jobs where there is an unhealthy attitude towards deadlines. If you don't like working under time constraints at all, then that's perfectly fine. But in this case, again, programming might not be a good choice. You need to function effectively under some time constraints if you want to become a successful programmer. And reason number 5, you have to learn all the time. Now, I know I mentioned that programming would involve continual learning as one of the reasons to get into coding. So it might seem strange to find the exact reason in this module. Well, the truth is that not everybody enjoys learning all the time, and I don't mean this in a negative way. Some people enjoy working in a routine because they are more efficient. To never stop learning is a treat for some people, but an annoyance for others. Even for me, after more than a decade of writing code, I can tell you that this race to know the latest technologies and methodologies and trends can become quite stressful and quite tiring. At some point, you want to use what you know for a consistent amount of time and get your job done. However, the moment you stop learning is the moment when you start to decline as a programmer. Stop learning for long enough, let's say a few years, and you'll have trouble finding a new job. So, if perpetual learning does not appeal to you, then I would advise you not to start a career in software development, mainly because the first years will feel like going to college and having a job at the same time. You will feel exhausted from all the new information that you're acquiring. Unless you really like programming and learning, you probably won't cross the finish line. Alright, there you have them. Some of the main reasons why programming might not be a promising career for you. I did not mention them to scare you, not at all, but I firmly believe that before you commit to changing your career, you need to have all the facts, pretty or ugly. I also mentioned the reasons to become and not to become a programmer because they are the aspirational side of software development. Do you really aspire to become a developer? Then, ideally, you should feel excited about all the benefits that this fantastic career can bring you and not bothered so much by its less beautiful aspects. In fact, you know what? Please meditate on these past two modules. I want you to be honest with yourself and answer this simple question. Based on what I know about programming so far, do I still want to become a software developer? Grade the answer from 1 to 10 and keep that answer close by. You will need it later on. 1 means no, not at all. 10 means hell yeah, I want to become a programmer. When answering this question, I want you to leave rationality aside. Try to focus on what emotion you feel when looking at the pros and cons of having an IT job. Do you feel excited, happy, eager, motivated? Or do you feel anxious, indifferent, scared, or bored? Your initial feeling is a good indicator of whether you aspire to become a programmer or not. I want to reiterate that there is nothing wrong with not wanting to become a programmer. It is perfectly fine either way. However, it's not okay to start investing time, effort, and money into changing your career only to find out you don't enjoy it afterward.